Welcome back to my Halloween Spooktacular. Today we are going to be talking about a classic slasher movie, not the remake. A remake is atrocious compared to this. We're going to be talking about 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street was written and directed by Wes Craven, and it stars Heather Langenkamp and a really young Johnny Depp in his first film. And in this one, when children throughout the neighborhood start to fall asleep, they are attacked by a guy named Freddy Kreuger in their dreams. Except when they die in their dreams, they die in reality. Soon he starts to come after Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp, and she has to keep herself from falling asleep and defeat the one, Freddy Kreuger. This is honestly probably my favorite slasher movie. I get it. Halloween's out there. Halloween really set the bar for slasher movies, because without Halloween, we wouldn't have this movie. I enjoy myself more watching this movie, even though it's a lot darker than Halloween. Halloween is a more slower paced, yet more intense movie. This definitely is a lot darker in terms of themes, which I'll get into in a minute, and is definitely a lot more gory. It's definitely a slasher film. But man, this movie is so goddamn good, and that is because Wes Craven directed this movie, and he knows how to stage the horror. He is like the horror master. He knows how to do everything when it comes to horror. He uses a lot of practical effects. The scene where Nancy's going up the stairs and her feet are sinking in the stairs, that was done with practical effects. From what I read, I think it was like pancake mix or something like that. That was all practicality. He uses tangible items that were in effect then and uses them in his movie to create practical effects. The dude's a genius. Not only that, but he also manages not to show Freddy Kreuger a lot in this movie. By that, I mean the movie's 91 minutes, Freddy Kreuger's in like 5. Freddy Kreuger is the main antagonist in this movie, and he's got less than 10 minutes of screen time. Maybe less than 5 minutes of screen time. That's insane. The way he is built up, the way Wes Craven wrote this movie, the way he directed it, he stages the suspense so well. He keeps an eerie, terrifying, haunting image throughout this entire movie, and that's what makes Freddy Kreuger so intriguing and so evil. It's like we don't see Freddy Kreuger for most of the movie, yet everything we hear about him, the way the movie is shot, the way the movie is written, it's written in a way, and the way it's directed, it is made in a way where somebody who is the main antagonist, it can have less than 5 minutes of screen time, 5 at the most, is one of the most terrifying horror villains ever. And that's, I really think that's because the opening scenes of the movie really set it up. You get these scenes right before the credits where it shows what Freddy Kreuger is actually doing. It shows him building his glove with all the knife blades on the end. It shows him chasing a girl, Tina, through a boiler room. Yet he's not really shown all that much. He's either kept in the shadows, and when he is shown, my God, he is terrifying. I used to be so afraid of A Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Kreuger when I was little. I actually did not watch this until about 2 years ago, because I was just like, this is so terrifying to me. And Freddy Krueger's face being all burned and him killing people with knives, and I thought it was going to be way over the top graphic when I first saw this. And then I came across the 2010 remake. I watched the remake. I was like, that's alright. But hey, if I didn't watch that remake, there's no way I would have checked out the original one, because the original one, this one, is so much better. The remake sucks compared to this. What makes Freddy Kreuger even more terrifying is the fact you get so much backstory in so little time about him. He was a child murderer. He took kids into that boiler room and murdered them. And the parents on the street, in the neighborhood, decided that they had had enough. They wanted to kill Freddy Kreuger, so they decided to. And now Freddy Kreuger is coming back for revenge. He is a vengeful ghost. He is literally killing people in their sleep. It's such a brilliant concept and such a brilliant idea. It is executed so well. And a lot of that has to do with the direction and the writing of Wes Craven. So there's some good deaths in here too, and a lot of the deaths relate to some of the themes within the movie, and one of those themes is sexuality. The first death in the movie belongs to Nancy's friend, Tina, who right before she gets killed actually has sex with her boyfriend. And if you watch the Scream movies, they parody that saying, oh, you gotta be a virgin and you'll live. Basically what happens is she falls asleep after she bangs her boyfriend, and that's really the first time you see Freddy Kreuger in full God mode, because he rips her apart. The imagery in that scene is so disturbing. It's so yucky. It's just, it really evokes imagery of what I would assume would happen if somebody were raped. That's what I'm thinking about here. Wes Craven's such a master. I would say this is another use of practical effects. When she's levitating in midair and she's moving around, that's probably a lot of wire work right there. I think one thing that really flies under the radar with this film is the score. The score is, I really noticed it this time, the score is fucking amazing. It's synth, yet piano, yet it draws you in because it's just this mysterious ambient music that's haunting and psychopath music is what I want to call it, throughout the entire movie. And it's just brilliantly done. Another theme that's really present in this movie is the lack of a parental figure. The parents are either assholes in this movie, they're either not around, or they just really kind of ignore their own kids. You really see that with Nancy's mother. Nancy's trying to tell her what's happening, and she's trying to play it off as like, no, you're just dreaming, you're just dreaming. Her father is the cop. Her father is the police chief. He's not in the movie all that much because he's so consumed with his job that he doesn't have time to handle his responsibilities as a father to Nancy. Nancy's boyfriend, Glenn, played by Johnny Depp, his parents, this is probably my least favorite aspect of the movie, honestly. His parents are quite assholes. She calls and, like, they instantly, like, for some reason they hate her for, like, no reason. They just randomly hate her. They're like, there's, like, one scene where it's implied that, like, Glenn's father is, like, a pervert because he's looking at Nancy in the window, and his mother, and Glenn's mother's like, oh, you shouldn't look. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's weird. And then she calls Glenn, and father comes on the phone, and he's like, don't ever call this number again. You are not allowed here. Something like that. I'm like, man, dude, what the hell did she ever do to you? What did she do to your son? Like, as far as I know, they got a compatible relationship here. They've got some good chemistry there, okay? They don't look like they're fighting at all. They don't look like they're in an abusive relationship or anything, so why don't you turn the tad down a little, Skid Row? That's probably my only complaint with the movie, and I think even then it's a nitpick, is that Glenn's parents are complete assholes. This movie is so goddamn good. It gets better every time I watch it. I always thought it was a lot more tame in terms of its tone and its violence. This time I really noticed just how dark this movie is, just how unrelenting this movie is, just how bloody this movie is. It's definitely one of my favorites, and I've always loved that scene where she falls asleep in school, and then she just goes into the hall, and there's that, she bumps into that girl who's got the Freddy Kreuger sweater on. That,
hey, Nancy, no running in the hallway.
I love that scene. That scene's classic. I don't know why. I just die laughing at that scene. I don't know why. I die laughing at that scene. And Nightmare on Elm Street is by far my favorite slasher. This is the one I have the most fun with. This is the one that I think is the most unique out of the slasher films. Because Freddy Kreuger, it's a vengeful spirit. It's not just a guy behind a mask. That could be anybody. The fact that you can take something from a fantasy world, like a dream world, and something can happen in reality. And that is death. It's really freaking crazy. And that's what I love about this movie compared to Halloween. Halloween's probably the better movie overall in terms of build-up, suspense, mystery, tone, directing, writing, acting. But I think that this movie is the ultimate slasher movie because it is just unrelenting, it is dark. You have the best and the most fleshed out slasher movie villain ever put on screen. And Wes Craven, his writing, his directing, the musical score in this movie is friggin' phenomenal. I'm gonna give A Nightmare on Elm Street, despite the Glenn's stupid parents, an A+. Guys, that is my review for 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street. Maybe next year I'll get to the sequels. I gotta finish, I want to do Halloween every year, so I gotta do Halloween 2 this year, because 2017 I did the original Halloween, last year I did the Halloween that came out last year, so I gotta do Halloween 2 this year. Maybe next year I'll get to the sequels, and we'll start from there. I mean, I've heard 3, Dream Warriors is actually really good. I haven't seen any of the sequels, I've just seen the original and unfortunately the remake that I thought was okay, and then I watched this and I was like, the remake is complete trash now. So that doesn't exist in my mind. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around for this Halloween Spooktacular. Stay tuned for more videos and reviews in this Halloween Spooktacular coming very soon. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.